Yeah. Hi, Sagar.
Hello, sir.
Thank you for taking time for the discussion.
Thank you, sir.
And let me start before we start the discussion and the interview, the process, let me have your profile. You help me go through your resume, what
Sure,
sort
sir.
of experience you have, whether it's internships or any projects or any learning opportunities that you have had, how many years of experience you bring, or anything. Then we can start the discussion from there.
Sure.
Yeah, you can see your resume.
Yeah, now it's visible.
Yeah.
Sir, basically, in front of the CV, first of all, I would like to tell about myself as a way of my CV. So, my name is Sagar Kumar, and I hold a BSc degree with a strong passion in for cloud computing and DevOps profile. And I have total 1.7 years of experience, which are mentioned in my CV below down as a BDM.
Okay.
Yeah, I was working as a BDM in the Arampton Infotech Private Limited earlier.
Okay.
During my 10 years, yeah,
What are your responsibilities in this role?
actually, I was the BDM, and my role and responsibility in that company used to generate the business for the company. Basically, I'm
Okay.
into the sales team.
Okay.
So, interacting with clients and managing Unity members under my team. So, that's all my role were there.
Okay.
And
And
during, yeah.
the customers were like cloud related customers.
Both, sir, both. Like a customer is inquired about like mobile application development service, along with
Mhm.
hosting service, along with automation testing and cloud migration.
Okay. So did you get chance to work on these scenarios as well?
No, no, no. Actually, I am just like a spokesperson, like for the client. Basically, I just convey the development team conversation to like the client. That's all
Okay.
I'm doing. I'm the mediator between the development team and the client end.
Okay. So it was more of a managerial role. You got a bit early in your career, and then it's not a hands-on role. So
Yeah.
how many experience should we consider on DevOps and cloud for you?
Basically, sir, I would like to tell about more in Arampton. Like I
Mhm.
joined Arampton as a sales and marketing executive, and
Mhm.
I worked there as a 1.3 years as a sales and marketing executive. I got promoted as a BDM. I worked for 4 months as a BDM. During my tenure, I realized my interest in DevOps methodology. So I
Mhm.
made a decision to my pursue my career into this field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is good. Yeah. Okay, cool. And now what's your situation right now?
My situation is like I'm like on a daily basis I'm like creating projects and practicing on hands-on assignments which is are provided by IntelliPad. My
Okay.
training provided by IntelliPad and ENICT Roorkee.
Okay.
Yes,
And uh, so you are not into a job right now. It's more of your self-learning.
it's more of like a training also. Like IntelliPad provide us the projects and assignment to us. Sometimes they want us to create a project like I was already mentioned in my CV. Like
Mhm.
they like shared some assignment with us, so I have to complete the assignment and submit it to them. And moreover,
How
I'm
much?
also
So
learning
you
by
are paying
myself.
to them, right, for this because
No, 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 no. It's
you
unpaid.
oh, but you are working unpaid, but you are not paying from your pocket.
I am paying as for my course.
Okay.
I am
All
paying
right.
for my course.
Okay. Good. Fine.
Yes.
Uh, all right. So let's talk about the projects that you have built and what sort of skills you brought
Yes.
in.
Yes. So, like, started from project one.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to share that project? Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, that's much better. So, on a very first project, I created a CI/CD, complete pipeline, like
Mhm.
from development phase to testing to production.
Okay.
Yeah, in which like I've created, like if I give you overview about the project, like in which I've created three instances, where one for master nodes and another for test and production. Along with that, and I used to like do some configuration with the help of Ansible in my instances, and I created a declarative pipeline, a freestyle pipeline with Git integration over there.
Okay.
And like I used to create upstream and downstream like relationships, like to create a like efficient software delivery, like from development to like testing to production. I used to pre-steps and post-step with the help of upstream and downstream.
Can you tell about testing? What sort of things you included in the testing in that pipeline?
uh, Okay, sure. In testing, I haven't included any kind of tool in it. I just simply created a separate server for testing prior
Okay.
to deploying server. Like if my in any case, if my build like fails, so it will not push to directly on the like production environment.
Where is test? What testing are you performing in this?
Like testing, I told you, like testing is, I'm not including any kind of testing tool like Selenium and other. I just created like a separate server for testing
Okay.
environment.
Okay.
I didn't perform any kind of testing over there. I just created a separate server just to check my build is properly working or not. If the build works fine, then it will automatically push to the like production environment.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Yes.
Let's talk about this one, this other project.
Yeah, sure. Basically, this one is a like small project I've created for my like my assignment.
Mhm.
Like I have used few resources. Like I've used EC2 instances for that, like server and development. I used code commit like for the versioning control in my project, like instead of GitHub, Git, and I
What
used,
are the issues? What are the differences between GitHub and code commit?
sir, like code commit is the like service provided by the AWS itself, and Git
Okay.
is the like open source. So in this project I use the only AWS resources to create this project only.
Okay.
I haven't used any kind of third party resources in this project, whether it should be Jenkins or another. Instead of Jenkins, I used code pipeline
Okay.
to
How
create
did
this
you
project.
achieve scalability and reliability in this?
Like scalability, in terms of scalability and reliability, I simply used code pipeline just to orchestrate my like process.
But code
Like
pipeline doesn't mean that your solution is scalable, right?
uh, we can say, but like with code pipeline, like I'm able to like perform my build steps and like a complete system with the code
Right.
pipeline.
Okay. That is the stability of your code pipeline at code commit from AWS. That is what we can say, right? Okay.
Yes.
No worries. You created some EC2 instances. How much time did you spend on building these one or two projects?
Sir, like honestly speaking, on a very first project, it will take around 2 to 3 hours
Right. And
on a
second
very
one?
first. Second one will take less time because I'm just like doing some replication with the help of my mentors. So it will take hardly like 1.5 hour and like hour and 45 minutes.
Sagar, the 1 hour of activity doesn't show up 5 lines on resume, right? I mean,
I I
that's
I
overkill.
understand. I understand, sir. Because I
You
don't.
if you have to, it's definitely you should. If you don't have experience, you should bring that experience. But it's very small things. You just created one EC2 instance now. You can enhance this project into a slightly bigger one where you cover automated testing or you understand what scalability is before you put it so that it's more you can relate to it more and the interviewer who is you know talking to you will also get an idea that you have built something substantial. It's
Yes.
not just very high level. It should have some meat in it. It's just
Actually, I wasn't aware about the much resources, so I'm also like doing R&D simultaneously. So that's why it took time to create the project.
okay. No worries. I don't want to, sound that I'm just trying
No,
to
I
defeat
totally
all the
understand.
effort that you have put in, but you need to put slightly more effort into this before this takes this much of real estate on your resume, this much
I
of
totally
space in the
understand.
resume. So enhance this. This is a good start, but add more value to it. Build slightly complex use case.
Sure, sir.
Hmm?
I'll do it.
Okay. How about this one? Is there even if
I have created a basically Terraform script for like creating a VPC, EC2, and set up firewalls and like load balancer. So this project, like if I'm talking about the time, this project will take around like to get complete like 40 minutes
Hmm.
with the help of documentations.
Right. Yeah, because all these use cases that you did are also very readily available in the
Yes, yes,
marketplace. You can look up on the medium and you will get this sort of thing, which
yes,
is again good start. Is IntelliPat not helping with such use cases, giving you complex sort of uh,
yeah.
projects there?
They had given some projects. I already also like the first one project was given by IntelliPad, the very first from them.
Do their trainer remains consistent or their trainer keep changing all the time?
No, like they are consistent with topics. If the
Okay,
topic changes, then the trainer will change.
trainer will also change. Okay, fine. Okay, let me stop this. I got an idea and we'll get into the interview part now. So what is, first of all, what is your understanding of DevOps in general? What do you mean by DevOps? Why do we need it? Any idea like?
Sure. So basically, like DevOps is a methodology that bridges the like that bridging the gap between the development team and the operations team. And like earlier, most of the times we face the issue that developers said, my application or my code is working on my system,
Mhm.
but it did not work on the customer end. To resolve that issue, develop like DevOps methodology came and fixed that issue. So it fills the gap between the both the teams.
Okay. How
Yes.
does it do that?
Like with normal like CI with the help of CI/CD and other modules. I know the CI/CD module is very useful to create a complete pipeline from like development to testing and testing to production.
Okay. Uh,
Yes.
and how about DevSecOps? Any experience in DevSecOps?
No, sir, I have not any experience, but I just heard about that. Like we integrate security with DevOps methodology.
You add security to the
I just
pipeline by adding.
yes,
Okay. What's your experience with
but I
Linux?
haven't
Have you worked on Linux as well? Because all.
like basic basically I have a basic understanding of Linux like and the command line operations, but like I'm planning like I'm eager to learn more about the like configuration and all the in-depth about the Linux.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you um, confident in using Ansible to do any kind of deployment?
Yes, basically, yeah. In my two projects, I used playbooks to create like necessary configuration in my instances.
Mhm.
Even and I used once ad hoc commands when I wanted to perform a single command on my instances, whether it should be like starting a server or updating any machine, or whether it should be installing any kind of single like software or tool. So I
Mhm.
used ad hoc also.
Will you be able to show me a sample Ansible if I ask you now how to create one?
Sure.
Okay, no worries. We'll not get into that, but I'm just checking. You can, right? In a live
Yes.
environment. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What about Docker and containerization? Have you worked on in any of the project? You don't have experience, right? You don't have project experience. So it's all from these projects and
Yes, it's all about from these projects and also from other projects which I have not mentioned in my CV.
okay. Okay.
Yes. So basically, as I told, like Docker is, everyone knows that a containerized application. It's a like advanced version of virtualization.
Mm-hmm.
Docker will be able to utilize the resources of the server, which is not possible with like a normal virtualization, like with VMware on another platforms, another
Mm-hmm.
tools.
How
So,
does Docker helps in utilizing those resources?
so basically, like in normal virtualization or normal EC2 instances, whenever we need RAM or whenever like let's suppose we have divided uh, three instances or three containers, example
Mm-hmm.
base, and we have allocated 2 GB or 4 GB RAM to each of them. Let's suppose if anyone of the machine need a higher RAM to perform any higher end action, so that time EC2 will charge you more. And virtualization is not like with virtualization with VMware are not able to perform that kind of task. But with Docker, we will get a flexibility of RAMs. If any container needs any like extended like need more RAMs, so it will take RAM from other like container or other resources, and whenever it doesn't require, so it will like free up the extra RAMs.
Where do you define how much RAM a Docker container should take?
In Docker, we can we never define RAM in Docker.
Okay.
Yes.
You don't define how many CPUs it needs and how much RAM it
In
requires.
Docker, we don't define any RAM and any CPU in Docker containerization.
Okay.
Yes.
So if I have a 2 GB RAM and uh, some sort of storage and some CPUs, how will a Docker container
So
manage
simply
that? Who will manage that RAM and CPU for a container?
basically, like if you have a machine with 2 GB RAM, like basically T2 micro and something like that,
Hmm.
so you can simply install Docker in it, and
Right.
with Docker, like you can like pull the like any image, like the base image, like Ubuntu or any of whatever you want to install in it, and you
Right.
can simply deploy all your actions with Docker file. So
Okay.
like it will performs like smoothly without like a hassle free hassle free.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. Which is good for a development point kind of thing. It is
Yes.
good.
Yes.
But when it goes to production, you do actually define how much RAM and how much CPU a Docker container should take. You define those upper limits because without that being defined, your Docker image would not know that will keep taking those CPU and those resources, and you will not be able to plan that sort of thing, like how many
Okay.
Docker images on one server should be deployed. So you will not be able to make those decisions. Yes, that will not go into a Docker file. Docker file will be independent of that, but in your deployments, in your scheduling using Kubernetes or ECS, you will define what sort of resources a Docker container should take.
Okay. Sure. Okay, sir.
Uh, what about AWS? You are studying quite a bit. So you have mentioned
Yes, sir.
also on
Yes.
AWS. What sort of experience you have? Any strong service experience you have? Like this is my go-to service that I know.
So most of the times I've used like EC2, like S3 and like VPC, and earlier I used like little bit RDS also.
Okay.
Yes.
In EC2, there is a public IP assigned to instance and private IP assigned to instance. How does that work?
So we can assign like if we want to create a sub private instance, so you can like disable the public access while creating the instance. So
Mhm.
it will not be able to access with public IP over the internet.
How
No,
will you
no,
connect
no,
to
no,
that?
no, no. The private instance doesn't have public IP. So if we want to connect that instance to the with internet, so there are two options. With like SSH connection, we can also like able to access our private instance into the public one inside the public instance. Along with that, we can also perform the same action with NAT gateway.
Okay.
Yes.
How does that work?
So like in SSH connection, in SSH keygen, we will like integrate our public key into the authorized key of our private instance. And
That
yes,
that would be from your laptop or from some another instance in public subnet.
no, I like basically like if I have two instances, one is with private and one with
I just have one instance, private instance. How do I connect to that?
so like with private instance you can't connect with like public without allowing the public access.
Okay. What are the options? So if I have to connect to a private instance, I need a public instance as well.
Yes, to if you want to if you want to access to your private instance, so you need a public one to like to access your private instance inside the public.
Any other way to connect to an EC2 instance?
Sir, I know only two ways like SSH keygen and NAT gateway with like under the VPC.
How does NAT gateway help say there?
Like NAT gateway will help private instance to private IP to connect with the internet. So we will integrate like we'll allow NAT gateway in the public subnet, and it will help us to connect our private instance with like internet.
Okay. And
Yes.
that since now that is accessible, you can connect from your laptop also.
Yeah, we will connect with our public one. Like we need to open the public instance. Inside our public, we are able to access the private instance.
Okay. So that is one way only, right? There's no two ways. You're saying just one way to connect to it, right? There are no two ways. You explained both the scenarios. You mentioned public to private, which is fair. Um, and there might be few other ways within browser you can connect to an instance. You can use SSM uh, also to connect to an instance for which you don't need port 22 to be opened as well. But again, you need permissions and all other things to set up for that to work. Terraform, what sort of experience you have with Terraform?
Like I have understanding of Terraform. Basically, it's like infrastructure as cloud. We define and deploy. So I've created a like in my CV, in my resume, I've created a small project on Terraform. Simply, I created a VPC, and VPC EC2 instance allow firewall rules and load balancer by using
What
the
is a
Terraform
firewall rule?
80.
What is a firewall rule? What do you mean by
Like
firewall rule?
it's a like basically allow port
Okay.
extension, basically a colon like IP and column the like the port which you are line for the
So that
particular.
is incoming is blocked or outgoing is blocked?
Sir, basically most of the times like incoming.
Okay. What is the impact on the traffic that's outgoing?
So I'm not sure about in depth about this,
Okay.
but I have applied once in my project. So simple, I just simply created the project and it will start working by the
Have
help
you
of the
done
documentation.
any sort of certification also? Any official certification?
I'm planning to do as of now. I like haven't like did any kind of certification, but I'm planning to like apply for the cloud practitioner.
Cloud practitioner. Okay. Can you tell us a bit about scripting, bash scripting, or anything that you have used?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, like I have a basic understanding of Bash scripting, just like the to automate the task. Like, like if you want me to install some kind of software or like packages inside any like instance or machine, so I just simply create a Bash file like install.sh and I put all the Linux command over there and simply I installed. And one more thing, sir.
Mhm.
Like a couple of days ago, I got a project like it's a complex project. So they were asking me to like create a bash scripting for the particular project. First, they want me to like do a task like to deploy, like to install Nginx on EC2 instance, and use example.com, and like the URL of the example.com, and put the example.com web page URL inside the Nginx directory, and do reverse proxy, and upload all your code over the S3. So I simply like I am able to understand the basics, but for to complete that project, I use the documentation and Google, and I completed that project within like 2 hours. I know which is like high for a like a person, but I don't have much in-depth knowledge, but I have completed that task. If you want, so I can also show you in my laptop.
So basically, you are saying that you got a slightly complex project of setting up Nginx, and following the documentation, you were able to set it up.
Yes.
You used install Nginx on, what was the use case like, for which company, like for which project? What were they trying to do?
Basically, they gave me a task
Mhm.
assignment to check my knowledge, and they
Okay.
allow me 2 days time,
Okay.
and like I completed that task. Basically, I used Google and open resources. I completed that task within 2 hours itself.
Okay. Awesome. So, which is good. You deployed into their S3 bucket.
Yes.
Can you show me a bit of S3 bucket policy? What policy you used on that bucket?
Sir, like policy, I simply deploy a code like which were available in the documentation. I didn't focus more about the like policy, so I
Okay.
don't know about much this.
Okay. Do you know how a S3 bucket should be configured?
With
Any permissions or any such things? Like there is a way you can make the bucket public and you can do all sort of operations. I want to see like what
yeah,
security things you
basically,
followed.
basically, sir, I simply created a normal S3 bucket, and there is an option to it was like pre-checked by block all public access. So if
Mhm.
we uncheck that checkbox, so it will available for public.
Right. You did not check that, right?
No, no, no. I just remain the default.
Okay. Then how your EC2 instance got access to that bucket?
How my EC2 instance got access to that bucket, sir? Basically, I used reverse proxy to complete that project.
Mhm. But how
Yes.
your project, when you are writing something to bucket, you need permissions, right?
If I like I need a permission, so I just I have a script if you want, so I can show you.
No, I want to understand your knowledge around what you have learned from that exercise.
Basically, sir, from that exercise I have learned like how to deploy like Nginx. I know I already knew that how to deploy Nginx on EC2 instances, and how to put a web URL of the example.com inside the directory of the Nginx, and and how to deploy that code to my S3 bucket.
Right.
I didn't know
Okay.
the exact in-depth things of the project. Just I simply deployed with the Google documentation because I had to complete the project.
Mhm. Right, right. No worries, but try to get more details as to if you are writing to S3 bucket or storing something there, you would need permissions, how that permissioning works. That would be really helpful.
Yes.
Right. Is there any sort of Linux experience, anything you can highlight, like what sort of commands have you used? How to check if there is what processes are running on a instance?
So I most of the times I've used simple commands like to like most of the times I used Ubuntu. So I used apt commands like to install or to
Install.
like
But
yes.
in regular operations, you would probably need to look at what's running on the server, right? How do you identify what's running on that server?
So, there are multiple like commands to check all the things like user command, so basically USR and etc command, and like if I want to check bootable files, so there boot command also available in the Linux. So there are
Okay.
multiple small commands are available.
Okay. And what if you have to check the content of a log file? Have you done that sort of thing? How do you check a
Uh,
log file content?
like I didn't get your the meaning of the particular log file. Like,
Any log file you have installed a package that writes to a specific location, a log file. How do you check that file?
so for like I simply check the if I want to check the like whether it's available or install or not. So I used which command, and if I want to check the directory of the particular file, so I used pwd command
Mhm.
to
And
check the
content
part
of a
of
log
the.
file.
And if I want to check, so I used cat command.
And if that log file is being constantly written, do you know how to check that file?
Constantly return. No, sir.
Like while you are checking, the log file is being modified and more content is coming live. Log file is being.
No, I haven't performed this kind of thing before.
No worries, Sagar. I think I have covered all the uh, things that I wanted to check and assess. And do you have any questions?
I don't have much question. Just I just want to know just like feedback on which segment I do have to like work hard.
Right, right. So what I have found, and to be honest with you, you have reasonably good experience for a fresher to have, but you also have a experience attached to yourself. You are in the industry from few years. So I won't treat you as a fresher. So it shows up in your speaking experience. You speak confidently. Things you know half cooked or half baked, there also you go beyond what sometimes what you know or you have experience with, you go and talk about that. So you need to build a bit of depth in I already told you the projects that you have built are can be done in half an hour, 1 hour, to 1 day,
Absolutely.
2 day. All the projects can be done maximum in a weekend or a week. So to for you to put those resume items on the resume and take that much of space and talk about it, you have to build that depth. You have to add more tools, you have to add more functionality, you have to, instead of building a very dummy project, you have to build projects that have database associated, how you manage that database changes, some secrets associated with that username and password of the database, how you manage those credentials. So don't take them that you will just hard code them somewhere and it will work and that's all. Understand all this permissioning side
Yes,
of
sir.
it. Uh, Maybe from a Linux is very basic. Like even if some fresher or someone don't have much experience in the DevOps uh, space, Linux is something they have to have some skills. I always suggest instead of installing Windows, you also have try to go with any Linux version, or worst case, have some sort of Windows subsystem for Linux installed on your laptop. So that gives you or keeps you attached to that Linux environment all the time. So
Sure.
uh, that's something I would suggest. Um, Identify 10-15 use cases where Linux commands are useful for DevOps engineers,
Okay.
looking at the what's taking up the CPU, what processes are running, how to check running log files, and a lot of other such things. They are day-to-day basis. How to check a specific
Absolutely.
drive is full, some resources are occupied. So how to clean that up and those kind of things. Basic things. First, do these sort of basic things, then you can try to build complex projects, slightly complex projects. IntelliPat is helping you find. Otherwise, you have confidence. You can look up online. You can build some project. Define a scope of project for yourself that you want to build this in next 1 month, 2 month, but it should be substantial, which you can highlight, which you can project as a real experience.
Sure, sir. Sure. Absolutely. I'll follow all the command, like all the suggestions which are giving to me.
Sure. Otherwise, you are confident person. You sound confident. Just add a bit of material to the confidence. I think you will do very well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, then I'll close the discussion.
Sure.